Welcome. This is my first year. I'm a new Robloxian, so this is my first Roblox RDC conference. So how many of you have been here before? Well, a round of applause for those of us who've been here before, and also for the ones who are here for the first time. OK, great. In this session, we're going to be looking at a couple of different things. We're going to be looking at how we build great products at Roblox. And we're also going to be looking at some of our more recent and upcoming features. So before we start, a little bit about myself. My name is Mahesh Subramaniam, and I'm the Director of Engineering for the Game Services team. And basically, our mission is to help you build awesome games at massive scale. So building great products. How do we build great products? Right? What is involved? What is the process we go through? So typically, building great products is about three things. Building the right thing, building it right, and building it quickly. So some of you might have seen this particular chart here, which talks about building products and the factors involved: speed, quality, and cost. Right? And there is some thought process on, okay, if we build something quickly, then the quality cannot be as high, and like all these different things. At Roblox, we try and have all these things in all the products we build. So building the right thing. Right? Where do ideas come from? So a lot of our ideas come from two main sources. The one is the vision of our leaders, executive, engineering, and product. And the second one is from you, from the community. So we're going to look into this in more detail in one of the upcoming slides. Okay? So engineering is mainly about building it right. So who can tell me what this is? Wonderful. Yeah, this is basically the Falcon Heavies coming back, a synchronized landing by the Falcon Heavies earlier this year. So building rockets is not easy, right? It's about not making compromises and doing the right thing. So at Roblox, in our engineering teams, we try and approach building products the same way. And the direction to us from top down is very clear. It is do it right, do not compromise. So over the next few slides, we're going to be looking at some of the things that we do across all engineering teams at Roblox. So the first one is performance engineering, speed. Why is speed important? Why is speed critical? Right? Because having speed means that we can do more things in the same amount of time. So that's why it's critical. And what does this involve? Basically, two main things. One is compute, and one is networking. So our engineers are constantly adding more processing, more servers in our data center to keep up with the increase in usage and to make sure that your requests are being processed faster. We're also working constantly to improve our networking. So our platform engineering team, they are the unsung heroes of the company who take care of basically all the plumbing that makes everything work. So they are constantly upgrading our networks, and basically they're increasing the bandwidth and bringing data from the clients to our data centers faster so that they can be processed faster and returning back to our clients. The next one is scale. So scale means many things to many people, but in the context of this meeting, I want to focus on two different things. So one is basically supporting more players per game server. And why is this important? This is important because having more players in the same server means that more players can play together. And we eventually want a larger number of players to be playing with each other. So that's why this is important. The second thing about scaling is basically supporting more concurrent players. That is, more players who are online at the same time, not necessarily the same game server. So recently, Meep City had more than 150,000 concurrent players, which is basically a lot. Even for a game on the App Store, I mean, not too many games on the App Store can hit this number. It's pretty high, and it's very good. So engineering at scale allows more players to play together at the same time. So next we're looking at engineering resiliency. So currently, Roblox has 4 regional POPs. So a POP, or a point of presence, is a place where Roblox connects to the general internet. So currently, we have 4 POPs, one each in Chicago, in Ashburn, Virginia, in San Jose, and in Hong Kong. And by the end of the year, we're going to have 12 POPs all around the world. And what does this mean, right? So this means that basically we can pick up traffic from most parts around the globe and bring them to our data centers to be processed, bypassing the general dirty internet and routing them directly through the shortest way possible. So this means, as far as you're concerned, lower latency and fewer dropped requests. So you're going to have improved reliability and better performance. And the eventual goal for us is to basically decouple latency from geography so that players from any part of the world have a similar consistent performance. So you may ask, OK, great. So what does all this mean for me? Right? Why is this important? So this lets you build more awesome games. We can process more requests in the same amount of time. We can build more complex scenarios, like more complex matchmaking. And all this increase player engagement and satisfaction. That's why these things are important. OK, here's a quiz. So I'm going to show 3 different things here, and I want you guys to tell me what is the similarity between these 3. Like, what is common between these 3 here? Well, we have 3D thumbnails. We have my avatar with my, and the third one is basically the scaling option on the studio.
User customization.
Well, we're getting there. That is, yeah.
They're all scalable.
Yeah. User interface. OK, so I think you came the closest. So these are all features that were initially built as plugins and which were later incorporated into the product. So in that way, we talked about where great ideas come from. So we have been and continue to be inspired by you. So that is what is common between these 3 features. In the next section, we're going to look at some of the things that were released recently and some of the things that are going to be released in the upcoming near future. So the first one is party teleports. Who here uses party teleports in their games? I see a smattering of hands. OK, cool. No, this is out today. It's out there. Yeah, party teleports was released recently. So this is already out there. So party teleports enables you to keep players together when teleporting to a different server. So examples of when to teleport players together: when moving players from one level to the adjacent level, when moving them from the lobby into a particular game server and back. And currently, we can teleport up to 50 players together. OK, so we're going to look at some sample code quickly. So this is fairly straightforward. For those of you who use the older teleports, basically, we input the target place ID, and then instead of using the old teleport call and passing in one player, we pass in the party teleport async call with a list of players. And that's it. It's very, very similar to the existing code. Okay. Moving on, we're going to look at some of the things that are going to be released in the upcoming next few weeks. So social media links. Right. Currently, when we want to basically share the social media channels on a game's page, there is no easy or effective way. For example, I picked this example from one of the existing games, and then if you see, there is follow us on Twitter for early update information, and there are the names, Twitter channels. But they're not clickable, and they're not easily visible on the page, so they tend to get lost. But not for much longer. So here's what it's going to look like. Wow. Yeah, so pretty soon we're going to be able to add links to Twitter, YouTube, and Discord on the games page. So Discord is only available for 13+ players on the platform, but these are going to be available out soon. Okay, moving on. So currently, when we update a game and we want to tell our players the game has been updated, there is no easy way. What we've seen you do is basically change the name of the game and do a few hacky things to let the players know that the game has changed. Again, we're doing something about this. Okay? So we're going to be launching game update notifications. And what this lets you do is basically lets you tell the people who are playing your game that the game is being updated. And this is going to be right in the notification channel. If you see, the message says, jailbreak, Meep City, and a few other games sent updates. And when you click on that, it expands out to all the individual games. And more than that, there is a play button right there, which players can click and play and join the game right from the notification. How cool is that? So a couple more details on the game update notifications. So this is basically the interface to send a notification from our web page. So these updates get published through the notification stream. So initially, this is all the developers are going to be able to publish one message a game per week. And this would include a short description of the changes to the game. So a couple of best practices. One is know that players will receive notifications from multiple games. So be cognizant of basically how you can make the best impact, given that multiple of you are going to be sending notifications. And the second thing is use this for substantial updates only. So if you make multiple updates frequently, then maybe you can use this for a major update. Okay. The next one is following game update notifications, we're also going to publish game update notification analytics. So essentially, if you remember, as part of the game update notifications, we saw there was a play button, which people could click to join the game. So here, we can see how many people clicked on the notifications to expand out the panel, and how many people clicked on the play button and joined the game right from the notification. So along with a couple of other features. So this is coming out after notifications. So basically, we're going to be able to measure how many players joined the game right from the notification, and then we're going to be able to measure how effective your messages are and adjust them for content and timing. So we don't want all the notifications to go out on a Friday. So yeah. The next major thing is packages. So yeah. So this is not avatar packages. This is something different. Right? So Roblox has grown as a platform, and now we see you guys specializing. So some of you may specialize in writing code. Some of you may specialize in building. Some of you may specialize in game design. And all of you come together and collaborate and build the games out. Right? So we want to enable this collaboration and make it easier for you to collaborate. So packages is basically our attempt to further this. So think of packages as models, right? So basically, we can package different things together and then share it with each other. So you can share between different places, games, and with each other. So think of it as models with permissioning, versioning, and notifications. So that's what packages is. Earlier this year, for the first time in the history of Roblox, we published our roadmap on our developer on the forums. So for those of you who are not aware of this, please go check our forums. And basically, the roadmap contains a list of features by the next few quarters. And you can see the most recent status. How many of you guys checked the forums for this? Okay, I see a fair number of hands. Wonderful. So feedback. As you guys know, we'd love to hear from you. And so there are a few different ways of getting back to us. One is, talk to Roblox volunteers, blue shirts, today, tomorrow, during the event. Or reach out to us on social media, on Twitter, etc., all the channels. But my favorite way is through our dev forums. So we recently published an updated version of the dev forum. This is very cool. And here, we can discuss topics that are threaded and categorized by features, bugs on different parts of the system. And our product leaders constantly go to this particular section of the platform, and they're constantly seeing this to see what comments and feedback you have. And I'm sure many of you have interacted with many of our people here all the time. But this is the best way of basically talking to each other and to us. So we're coming to the end of this presentation. And I want to summarize by saying we're always listening, right? So we provide the tools, and you provide the creativity. And your success is our success. So on that bombshell, I'm going to wrap up this and open it up for Q&A. We still have, a few minutes. Tapping follows with people played. But basically, people follow a game, they receive the notifications. Yeah.
Any plans to show up the notification?
Showing revamping the notifications page. There is some work internally being done. For example, all our notifications are now currently focused on places. So we want to expand that out to games or universes. So we are in the process of doing a lot of work in the back end to get that ready. So when that is ready, then we'll have analytics for games and not just places. So that is on the cards. It's not on the roadmap yet because it's a long-term project, but it is in the works.
Hi, so 2 lightning questions. Social media, will you only be able to add one Twitter, or can you add multiple Twitter links?
One now, more later.
Okay. And then for the notifications, I noticed that they were all batched into one tile. Is this going to be based on preference, or is this just a logged in? Because I know some players might be more interested in game notifications than whatever else is in the notification stream. So is it always going to be batched, or is it going to be up to preference?
So currently it's going to be batched. But there's something that, I'm not sure. So currently it's going to be batched. Yeah.
So on the dev forums, I tested allow third-party sales, and the feature after looking into it, the feature was never actually enabled. Do you know if? All right.
Hi, I have a quick question about packages. So say you have a script framework, right? You know, you have all your code in a big framework. And say, you know, in one game, I make changes to that, you know, the package, you know, the code inside the package, you know, and I push the update. Will that update automatically be pushed to all games, especially like servers that, like live servers too?
So it's not pushed to a live game.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, next time
to,
a new game.
It is not pushed to a live game. It's basically pushed. So, you know, people can consume a package. So if you publish a package that contains the script, for example, it can be linked to other places which use this particular package internally. So it's going to be pushed to the other places. And it's up to the owner of the place, the developer who's, you know, responsible for that place, to determine when to push it. So basically, we are putting in a system where we can publish things to places, so that developers can automatically consume them. So it's not going to go to the game servers automatically. That will be up to the developers using them.
So it acts kind of like link sourced.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, so with the better networking and all that for the POPs, we going to be getting like our data store limits increased so we can have more traffic flowing through, or is that still going to be set at what it is currently?
Do you want to take that?
Sure.
Yeah.
We do
I'm
not
a big
have
fan of data
immediate-
stores.
Can you guys hear me? Hi. Okay. We do not have immediate plans to raise the limit. There are some bigger projects related to persistence coming up.
Oh, okay.
But related to game persistence as it exists today, we are not likely to make any major changes to that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
What's the future of data stores look like?
To be decided.
So this has come up before, and, you know, we are rethinking the data store system. So some of the current use cases don't fit, basically, you know, don't fit the model we have. For example, information that is common across all the games, like, you know, if you want to store the number of sessions all the players play in a game, then we don't have the right data structure to store that right now. So we want to be able to address those kind of problems. And there is a plan, but it's not something that's going to happen in the near future. Here's a question.
So with the new analytics, will we be able to see regions that our players are playing in, or at least for each player, the region that they were playing in?
So the long-term vision of analytics is to basically break it down by locale. So to have localized analytics. But again, you know, this is something that we've been talking about. It's very I've actually talked to a bunch of developers in the offices a couple times earlier this year and late last year about requirements for analytics, and this is something that came up. So the ultimate goal is to be able to localize analytics and provide that by locale. So, you know, we can break it down by people playing from different regions, but we're not there yet.
So this is if I'm making an RPG and I want a guild, for example, and I want players to be able to communicate with each other, even if they're not in the same server, right now that's impossible for me to do without using external HTTP services. Is there any plans or any potential features in the future, maybe even long term, to allow servers to communicate with each other in a way that would enable social features like this?
Yes. So in adding on to that, you know, basically the vision of Dave is to build primitives, like an event system, you know, like more advanced data stores. All these enable like things like you want, like more customized chat, customized matchmaking that can be built on top of these. So that is a long-term vision, to have these primitives. But, you know, these things don't get built in a day. But yes, we will have them in the future at a TBD date. Okay, I'll take one last question.
So I have a question about kind of, it's similar along like the social little icons. A while back, there was a plan, I think, that you'd be able to like kind of like organize certain things on your profile and like organize like the order of your places without shutting them down and like reopening them. Are there any plans about that in the future?
So
To like have like be able to like drag like the order of like certain things on your profile or like your places in order without having to like take them down and then put them back up.
So coincidentally, I think you're the second person to ask me this today. This came up at lunch when I was chatting with some other developers. So the answer is, I do not know, but I'm going to go back and find out.
All right, thank you.
Sure. OK, guys, thank you very much. This was great.